Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the European Formula Esports Series. We've had delays, we've had things that have affected this calendar year, but after 2 weeks away, Formula European Esports is finally back, and we go racing around the iconic Zandvoort circuit, a fan favourite, and more importantly, a driver favourite, as the teams ready themselves to get out onto this very short 4.7 kilometre track. And it may be sure you've got everything you would want in a track: elevation change, banking, low speed, high speed, medium speed, and everything in between. And the game of the day is 18 minutes of qualifying and then on to 36 laps in the race to decide who will have a very good start to the second half of this season. And if first half's anything to go by, it really does look like Belarus are running away with it unless anybody can mount somewhat of a challenge. Belarus are in complete control of this constructors title. Them obviously driving the Ferrari, but we are getting a plethora of cars heading out onto the track, and the very abruptly named Tung Tung God making his way through the first sector, who will start the first qualifying lap of the day. So obviously battery is going to be the name of the game here around Zandvoort. It is a relatively easy track for battery. That middle sector really lends itself to charging it back up and then blasting out of turn 14 down the main straight, burning every little bit you have. In qualifying, obviously, that's going to lend itself to some very quick lap times as well. Wouldn't be surprised if we are too much slower than the times we're setting in F1 25. As Mercedes makes his way through the final sector now. We get ready for the first lap of the day, set by the HRT. I'm rounding the banking of the final corner. The Argos will get on the battery now and will start his lap. So under the bridge he goes, and then waiting just before the 50-metre board down to third gear into turn 1 with the EFES, acting as much as possible. You get on traction early as you dare, climbing the hill towards turn 2, chuck it in and hope the car sticks, then hold the inside at turn 3, get on traction, don't get too eager though, on the curb and trying to avoid a little dip of the grass, then burning the battery as you climb the hill once more towards the incredible turn 6. Can he take it flat out? Yes he can, nicely done by the Mercedes. And a bit of a kink to the left and then nearly flat out to the right, just for 50-metre board. Very difficult to spot your braking point at this turn of turn 9. Then sweeping round turn 10 now. Very difficult on traction. Make sure you avoid the curbing. But Tung Tung does pretty well. And down the hill we go towards the stadium. Third gear, chucking it into turn 11. Then hug the inside as much as possible. We need a bit more rotation in that Mercedes for the optimum line. And into the final corner. Very awkward final corner. And then the final flat out corner round the 30-degree banking and up to the line. Tung Tung will cross the line to set the benchmark of a 1:09.6. And as I said, that's not actually too far off the times that we were seeing in F1 2025. His teammate Liagos is just going to the line now, and he will go just behind with 1:09.8. Next to cross the line is the Aston Martin of Benerick, and he goes to P2, splitting the two HRTs. Proper drivers currently on their laps. B&B Grenade goes to P3. QDR, obviously one of the race winners this season so far, and currently sit second in the championship. So they have got high hopes heading into this second half of the season. Whether they can replicate that, though, is a different question. So do forgive me, I did a bit of a cough, so if you do hear me dying in the middle of the stream, that is probably why. But the first time of the HRT of Tung Tung God is standing for now. B&B's getting up there in 2nd and 5th right now, but the first lap of the day is your fastest one. We await to see what the VLSs can do as they start their laps in quite close proximity to each other. See how Giacomo makes his way through the middle sector. world with a Ferrari. Really is understated just how dominant Ferrari have been this season. And that is one way to get out of the way, as MBK Sniper goes to P1. Just slightly faster, and that was very close to impeding. He just about got out of the way of Giacomo, who makes his way through the final sector. His teammate also on a lap behind, or has his teammate backed off? I think Victor Gassi has backed off, so he might be going again afterwards. Giacomo for the first lap of the day for Valaris, though, up to the line, and he will go fastest from 109.5. But very fine margins, and it is 7 different teams in the top 7, all separated by 2/10, so it is shaping up to be a very interesting qualifying so far. Still a few yet to set a lap. Heineck is one of them, and he crossed the line with a bit of an unrepresentative lap time. It's Garcia, is he going again? I think he is. He wasn't happy with his first run. And Raxi is on an inner lap, I think. So we approach the halfway point in the season. The calendar obviously disrupted thanks to the World Cup. So we are only on round 5. Zandvoort would be round 6 otherwise. It's just a chance for Valaris to continue their hold on this Constructors' title. We've got a few fans of Douglas in the chat. I don't know what his appeal is, but currently saying in P11, the Aston Martin. And ART obviously currently sitting 3rd in the standings, battling with QDR for 2nd in the spot, which is basically the equivalent of best of the rest if we're excluding Valaris out of it. As Vitz Garcia comes up to the line, and he makes it a Valaris 1-2. And the first man into the low 109 for 109.3. So Valaris obviously establishing their grit once again, showing what pace they have, but it is very fine margins, as you would expect at a track as short as the Netherlands. Sniper not too far behind him in P3. I think he's currently finishing a lap, is he? Yes, he is, but he does not improve. So, has he gone for 2 laps? I think he's gone for 2 laps on the same tyre there. So, interesting strategy from a McLaren. As we get the first of the second runners coming out. We're currently on a lap, everybody mainly on their in laps. Everybody with a lap currently, apart from RELPs down in P21. I'm just trying to figure out what driver we are missing. I think there's only one Alpine, so Heineck is all by himself. I'm not sure if his teammate's joining eventually, but the XR is by himself. So we'll see how he fares. Meanwhile, the man who set the first lap of the day is currently on his second one. He'll be looking to improve. Just a 2/10 improvement could see him jump up into the top 2 for Tung Tung God. He's slightly down in the first sector. But plenty on their laps behind him as well. His teammate's actually quite further along the lap. He's currently a 10th up in the middle sector. So if he can just have a clean final sector, he should be able to bump himself up the order. So around the final corner goes the Argos. Up to the line, out of battery, and he jumps his teammate into P5. But his teammate might have something to say about that, as he is improving in the middle sector as well. So Tung Tung around the final corner. It's going to get quite annoying having to pronounce that in the race if I'm speaking fast, but an immature name for a fast driver. He goes to P2 or 109.4. Good lap from Mercedes, also good lap from the IRT of Simon Piper. He goes just behind with a 109.5. QDR's have yet to get in the mix a bit more. They currently sit 9th and 20th, make that 10th and 20th. As Yanni starts his lap in the QDR. So yeah, behind Valaris, the title is actually incredibly close. It's just a shame that Valaris have completely run away with it at the moment. Meanwhile, the other IRT of Nordic Ninja gets in on the action, goes to P2 for 1:09.4. And then it went to P5 as well. Viper is on his outlap, as well as Giacomo. Victor Garcia, your current fastest man, is on a lap currently as well. See what Yanni can do down in P10, but he's backed off, so Yanni not happy with his lap there. He's probably got time to go again if he wants to. As IRT Douglas gets in the action and goes to P4, so just look at how fine the margins are. 2 tenths from 2nd all the way down to 11th. So just a tiny improvement could see jump a plethora of positions. Yanni is going to go again. He wasn't happy with the run he made previously. He's also starting his lap quite close to Niper, but Niper on a lap in front. So these two, we'll see how they get on. ART currently 4th and 6th, make that 5th and 7th because Zenility goes to P2. And Victor Garcia is improving by a lot, and that might give him a bit of a slipstream. That was very close. I don't know whether that gained him more time than he lost, but Garcia up to the line, and he does improve. Only slightly, though. I don't know if that final corner Alpine lost him any time, but all those times, they went faster. They went to P2. It just weren't enough to challenge Garcia. It is still less than a tenth, though. See how Yanni and Niper are getting on. So Niper improving in the middle sector. I think Yanni is as well. So let's see if these two can bump themselves up the order as well. And Yanni probably getting a bit of a faint slipstream from the McLaren in front. And up to the line we go. It's going to be Niper who doesn't improve, but Yanni goes to P2. And that's the closest threat to Valaris we have seen so far. And if you needed an indication as to just how close the margins are, from Liargos in P11 to your pole sitter, Victor Garcia, is 270 milliseconds. So just one small correction could be the difference between outside the top 10 and pole today. But that'll encourage QDR, knowing that they are within touching distance of Valaris. And so will everybody else, really. Still 5 different teams inside the top 5. And QDR, as Raxi goes to P7, that'll encourage them. And now he makes it between the top 12, where there's barely anything in it. So it really could not be closer between the grid and qualifying. And 4 and a bit minutes to go. Niper didn't improve on his last run. He pits. Giacomo didn't improve either, so he'll be pitting. Or is he currently on a lap now, actually? We'll keep with Giacomo because he actually might be on a lap. Oh no, he's on an in lap. So everybody will surely be coming into the pit lane. And we'll get one final flourish to go out for pole. So under 4 minutes left to go. We've already got some people going out quite early for their final runs. But this is going to be quite the end to qualifying. We've got 12 runners in with a shot of pole. I don't know whether those behind, like Mercikill and Grenade, can get involved as well. But the top 12 separated by under 3 tenths. So we are in for an absolute cracking qualifying session. And the final 3 minutes are going to dictate who leads the way for the Dutch GP. IRT will fancy their chances as well with 2 cars right up there in the top 10. Interestingly, Vitz Garcia is actually the head of this train that have gone out quite early. Just behind Heineck, the sole XR in this race. RALP's retired, so maybe a possible quali ban for the Audi. And Vitz Garcia is actually going for 2 outlaps, and I don't know if that's the strategy here at Zandvoort. Looks like it is. There's a good few people just going for 2 outlaps. I don't know if that improves. But a lot of cars just warming up their tyres, getting them in the optimum window for the final shootout. And 2 outlaps is the strategy, it seems. Mercikill on a lap? I think he is, and this looks like a bit of impeding. I think he is backing off. He burned a bit of his battery, or he might just be on 2 outlaps as well. Liagos is getting well out of the way of some cars, taking the line where if you beat your car on the curb. So Garcia finishes his 2nd outlap. I think he's finally ready to go. Yanni in front of him is ready to go. I don't think he's done 2 laps. He wants to get straight in on it. Oh no, he's doing a 2nd outlap as well. So everyone employing this tactic. Victor Garcia, he's doing 2 outlaps? I think he is. This is very interesting strategies. I haven't really seen strategies like this at Zandvoort. But here we are. Everyone doing 2 outlaps. Or if you've got time to do 2 outlaps is the question. So just awaiting to finally get going. I'd like to see how much time's left in the session, but the yellow flags are disguising it. We have got a few properly on a lap now. Grenade and Mercikill in P13 and 14 on a lap. We'll have a few more starting them. Those at the back as well. Heineck on a lap as well. And Tristemic, the currently last of all the runners. So Zenility, your first proper runner, starts his lap first. Nordic Ninja's actually well on his way, halfway around the lap. Tung Tung God also on his lap. Giacomo's, is he going to get to the line in time? He's got 20 seconds. That's going to be tight for the Ferrari. I think he's just about going to make it. And meanwhile, that is a spin for Nordic Ninja and into the barriers. So Nordic Ninja's qualifying comes to an end. Does a DNF, but that is the end of his session in the wall for the RB. So see how the rest are getting on. Simon goes to P3, not enough to displace Victor. Yanni is improving in the first sector. Zenility is slightly down in the first sector. Nordic Ninja's just trying to stay off the racing line. Tung Tung God has retired. He will only be P6 at best. Raxi rounding the final corner. Can he get his QDR up there with his teammate? Currently in P8. If he finds a 10th, he'll go right up there. But he stays in P8. ART Douglas goes to P4. Just misses out on the top 3. Yanni is still improving. All he needs to do is stay positive, and he should be able to take pole. Zenility goes to P4. Not enough to jump into the top 3. Yanni rounding the final corner. Victor's just behind him, but up to the line goes the QDR. Can he take pole? Off of Valaris. No, he can't. He misses out. Victor looks like he is set for pole, but can he extend his advantage? No, he's pitting. So is that the end? I don't think anyone else is going to challenge him unless his teammate Giacomo can do something about it. Could he make it? A Valaris 1-2 up to the line. Goes Giacomo, and he only improves by a tiny bit. He lost a lot of time in that final sector, so he stays P9. Disappointment for him. And that is your qualifying. Or can Nordic Ninja do anything? No, he's up to the line, and he doesn't improve. So it is Valaris on pole. Fortunately for Victor, his teammate is down in P9. And just look how close it is. There's 1/10 between the top 8. It's unbelievable just how fine the margins are. There you have it. 1/10.5 between the top 11. That is truly, well, that is something. But Valaris, one way or another, they do still always find a way, and it is Victor on pole. Yanni is right behind him, followed by Simon Pfeiffer. IRT, the only team with both cars in the top 8. And yeah, Conno's got a job to do from P9. And Ariel P's the only one without a lap time on the board in the end. To the race we go now, where qualifying is obviously important at a track like Zandvoort, but battery management comes first. And as we head into the race, it is cloudy skies over Zandvoort. Whether that is enough for rain, we'll find out later on. So I assume it is a simple medium hard, from what I know. Fuel will be able to go very far under. It's just about how low the drivers are willing to go to gain every bit of lap time. But if qualifying is anything to go by, we are in for a thrilling race. So many teams, so many drivers, basically equal on pace. And really, anyone inside the top 11 could have got pole then. But Victor Garcia will lead us away. We should get going soon. They said to ready up at 27, so that gives the drivers about 1 more minute to sort their setups and strategies. So here we go then, 5 red lights for round 5 of the European Formula Esports Series, and Division 1 is away at Zandvoort. Garcia with a good start to cover off Yanni Corses. It's a brilliant start for Simon Pfeiffer, who tries to go round the outside of both of them. On the outside, the RT will take P2. He's got Yanni still on the inside of him. Into turn 3, Zanility ahead of Nordic Ninja. Sniper on the inside of Douglas, squirming into turn 3 we go. Contact made between the McLaren and the Aston Martin, but the McLaren takes P6 up to P6, and Knifer goes. There's been a spinner at the back. Sweet Crown tumbles down the order. Also Benerick down to P20. I think he's had a crash. He has had a crash. The virtual safety car is out, and it's a spin through the flat out kink of turn 5. Not sure what's happened to the Aston Martin there, but that will just neutralise the race for a temporary moment. And 2 runners already out of the sync with the pack, but it is Victor Garcia away and well. Simon with a very good start. Raxi up 3 positions off the start. ALC Douglas didn't have a great start, down 3 positions. We have a look at the tyres. It is mediums for every single runner, apart from Maddie, down in P18, as Tung Tung God sadly has left the session. Hopefully we can get him back in soon. But we should get going soon. So virtual safety car just means everyone can charge their battery up properly. And on to laps, and we've already got a very early piss, and we've still got actually a few in the pit lane. So ALC Douglas doing a very interesting strategy. Did he get damaged? I'm not sure. Oh, he did get damaged. That's why he had a poor start. So front wing change for the AERT. That's not how I wanted this race to start. We've got plenty of drivers in the pit lane. 14 stay out, so we'll keep an eye on these guys at the back, trying a different strategy. Actually, it's a full safety car, sorry, that is why. The full safety car is out. Sorry, red virtual safety car, so I just assumed it was that, but EA once again having a fantastic game. So it is a full safety car. That probably explains why we have a few more pitters than usual. So, just neutralisation barely seconds into the race, as I just try to get Tung Tung back in. Oh. Okay, I thought I disconnected for a second then. Okay, never mind. I think something's going on with the Wi-Fi. Hopefully we don't get any more disconnecting. Nobody on hards apart from Maddie. Actually, well, we have got people on hards now after they have pitted, obviously. So the bottom 6 all on hards. Surely, I don't know how bad tyre wear is at Zambos, but surely they can't go to the end after that. As we look at Douglas's car, as EA once again having a fantastic game, we cannot see any of his nose cone. So Douglas driving around without a nose, but he does have a front wing. So EA, well done. You've made another fantastic game. The same can be said for Heineck back there, and the same can be said for Cristobal and Liaga. So anybody who changed their wing doesn't even have a front wing, so that's going to be quite funny if we see them overtaking a lot of cars. But interesting strategy call from those at the back. Mediums for the top 14 now have to go and stay out on their normal strategy. The rest on hards, trying something different. What's happened to him is, I think that might be a bit of a timing glitch. As we head back to the front, I didn't properly have a look at the positions, but after all the pit stops, Tristemic is up 10 positions. Started in P20. He's gone from pretty much dead last to the top 10, so what's a start for him. RELPs, who didn't even set a time in qualifying, also up to P13. I don't know if Tuntum goes down to last. I think he is, so I don't know what's happened to the Mercedes. Very strange for him, but the safety car is in this lap, so we are going to get racing again. And Victor will lead us away for the second time in this race. Trying to keep as much heat in those tyres. You can see the queue forming at the back there. But just 2 laps behind the safety car to clean up the incident of Belenek. And it's left those at the back on an interesting strategy. The Argos is having a disaster. HRT are having a disaster. He's collided with a car. Victor Garcia is leaving us incredibly late to get going. Still weaving around, trying to keep heating the tyres. Finally gets going, and I think he's caught Simon napping a bit there. Lovely restart from the Ferrari. Yanni in hot pursuit of the RB. As we head down towards turn 1, 3 wide in the background. On the inside is Braxi. Nordic Ninja gets squeezed out on the outside now. Is Niper trying to get by ahead of Zanility, but back down the inside goes Braxi into turn 2. He just has to back off, and the McLaren will hold P5 back around the outside. He goes. Nordic Ninja trying to get back in on the action as well, as we have another virtual safety car. Not sure what for this time. Tung Tung God is into the pit lane, serving a penalty of some sort, or is he just glitched? I'm not sure. But what a disaster AERT and HRT are having. After having such a good qualifying, their races could not have started any worse. And we have another safety car. Okay, cool. We have got another safety car, so I think we've had about 40 seconds of racing so far. Let me just check safety car's not on increased. Safety car's on standard, right. I have no idea why we've got a safety car. As Tung Tung retires. So, EA once again making a fantastic game, and we have another safety car. Now, is anyone inclined to pit this time? No, they're not. Or someone at the back is. Oh, actually, no, they're not. Tristemic pulling the fool. So, I mean, I don't really have much to commentate on because we haven't really seen much racing, but these safety cars just mean that the driver's tyres are going to last longer. As Douglas and Liagos come to the pit once again. Douglas has gone on to a fresh set of hards. Could he get to the end from there? Surely not. I mean, the safety car will take us to about lap 7, so we'll still have to do about basically 30 laps on those tyres. But Garcia, he must just want to get on the pedal because all he's had to do is start, slow down, and then start again. Everyone else has been having a bit more of a lively race behind him. But around a total of 30 seconds of racing and safety cars for the rest around Zandvoort. And the safety car still reads virtual safety car, so that just goes to show you EA's problem with this game. Still nobody wants to pit, they are all happy to stay out. Oh, actually, I've got someone in the pit lane though. Grenade decides to roll the dice and come into the pits. And Sweet Crown, the leader of those on the alternate strategy, he is now up to P13. So very slowly making their way up the order, the ones on the alternate strategy. And hopefully if Grenade and Liagos can catch up, we will get safety car in this lap. And touch wood, we can finally get some proper laps under our belts. So, Grenade just closing up to the back of the field now. And we are going to get safety car in this lap. So, 6 laps down. Every single one under the safety car. And Garcia, he had a very good restart last time around. Let's see if he can replicate it this time. Simon may be a bit more aware now that he knows where Victor went last time. And he might try and pose a challenge to the Ferrari down the straights. But on to lap 7, there's going to be basically zero wear on these tyres for the medium runners. Because it has just been sat behind the safety car this whole time. So they have just been able to preserve their tyres. But they're not exactly going to have a lot of heat in them, that's a problem. So expect a few slides and lockups on this restart as Victor crawls around the banking, awaiting to get on the power. Simon is wise to it. Cuts inside, still waits longer than he did last time. Now gets on the power, and we are racing again here at Zandvoort. Hopefully this time, a few more laps under our belt. So, Victor ahead, Simon behind Yanni, followed by Zenli, and it's Raxi versus Sniper again. Raxi on the inside takes P5. Can he take P4 as well? Wonderful restart from the QDR. Contact made into turn 2. Now he's on the outside of Zanility. Back down the inside goes Sniper, trying to get back into P5. It's barged out of the way by Raxi and can't quite get the move done. Raxi still having a look at Zanility in the Cadillac in front. You're not going to shake for a move it into turn 7. No, you got to think better of that. But Victor Garcia is happily away. Simon is right with him, and then a bit of a gap back to Yanni in P3, who leads his own little train. His teammates looking wise at Zenility, trying to get ahead. He's closely followed by Sniper as well, who goes down the inside at turn 10. Unorthodox place to make a move, but I think he's got it done. Wheel to wheel on the exit, tyre face to tyre face. Into the stadium we go, back down the inside. Goes Rexy, trying to get back by. Wheel to wheel, still we go. On the exit, Sniper just about getting it done, but on the inside now is Raxi, who will take back to the position. On the outside still is the McLaren, and we have another virtual safety car. But that was fantastic racing between the Williams and McLaren, I must say. Brilliant driving by both of them. It is not a full safety car this time, it is just a virtual safety car. But we just can't seem to get a lap without interruption here at Zandvoort. Was there a collision between Sweet Crown and Douglas, I wonder? Sweet Crown is in, he's changing his front wing, so I think there was some sort of collision. Cristobal Reyes is now the leader of those on the alternate strategy. He currently sits P12. But we do go racing again, and Simon is pushing Victor Garcia around the track, eager to try and get ahead of Victor in these early stages. It does also seem to be getting cloudier here in Zandvoort. Whether it's going to be cloudy enough for rain, we'll find out sooner rather than later. But one to keep an eye on is Cristobal on the alternate strategy. He's looking very close behind Mercerkill in P11. Also want to just have a look at the position changes, and Trestemic up 12 positions, started in P20 up to P8. Same can be said about Ariel Keys. Started dead last and he is up into the top 10, so fantastic start for both of them. And if we cut back to the leaders, does Simon want this lead early on? I think he does. To the inside he goes to turn 1, no, just stays behind for now. Happy to coast his tyres for now. Putting back through the field, plenty of close battles, and Cristobal Reyes takes P11 on the hard tyres. So this lot all on a certain strategy, apart from Mercerkill. Liargos also on very fresh mediums, along with Grenade, who's got the freshest mediums of the whole field. But kind of two trains going on here, the top 10 and then the train behind that. So we're kind of split between the two strategies at the moment. But it just feels nice to actually be able to get some clean laps under our belt. And Vitz Garcia, right now everything is going according to plan for Belarus. He's managing to fend off the attacks of Simon behind. They're mainly line astern in the train. Raxi still wants to get that P4 so he can be very close to his teammate. Here out the final corner, is he going to be close enough to shake for a move, Raxi? But in the wheel tracks of the Cadillac, rounding the final corner. The Cadillac's got some nice battery with him and straight line speed to stay ahead. And Zenility just about fending off the attacks of the QDR behind. Simon's still running very close to Vitz Garcia and isn't letting the Ferrari get away whatsoever. Giacomo's having a quiet race so far, unable to make any major inroads on the train ahead while his teammate leads the way. Cristobal's still the leader of this alternate strategy. He's closing up to the back of Ariel Pease and will slowly catch this train in front. But riding on board with Nightmare, you can see Raxi's attack. Meanwhile, I think Ariel Pease had a bit of a problem as he gone for a spin down to turn 9. I think he has. So after he gains so many positions, that is a disaster for the Audi. And he tumbles right to the back. And Audi not at all having a very good race. But the top two starting to make themselves a nice little gap here, pulling away from Yanni behind. Yanni's coming under pressure now from Zenility instead. Just about fending him off for now. Danny inside goes Knifer having a look to try and get back at Raxi. Not working out. Wheel to wheel goes Giancarlo and Tristemic. Tristemic just about staying ahead for now. Cristobal in the McLaren up into the top 10. Meanwhile, we've got battling between Grenade and Benenek. And Grenade does just get the position on the fresher mediums. So he's now going to try and put pressure on Heineck and those on the alternate strategy in front. Giacomo, wheel to wheel, round to 6, and that was always going to end badly. Tristemic has a spin, and after the man who gains so many positions in this race loses a few more. So Tristemic down to P14 after a collision with Giacomo. That just gives this pack an extra position. It just feels like they're getting gifted positions at this point. So up to P9 goes Cristobal and everyone else behind him who gain another spot. This train, Gianni, which is technically a train for the lead, but it's more like a train for P3. Yanni is just about fending off The attacks of Zanility behind, but that Cadillac looks very close coming out the final corner, and he might want that podium position heading down towards turn 1. Gaining and gaining goes Zanility, doesn't go down the inside, that's turn 1, has a look, gets left the room by Yanni, doesn't quite get late enough on the brakes to get his nose up the inside, and Yanni is just about staying ahead. So the top 7 all in very close proximity, gap back to Giacomo, and then this train, which is being led by Cristobal on the hard tyres. As his tyres are probably the fastest on track right now, those hards are certainly better than the mediums at this point in the race. But Yanni's got to be careful here. If he doesn't have a good final sector, he's going to lose the overtake to Simon in front. So he might need to burn a little bit of battery just to try and stick with the RB. There's going to be a bit touch and go whether he gets it or not. The top 2 are happy to pull away. I think Yanni is fallen back a little bit. And he definitely is gonna. He's got less battery than Zanility as well. So Yanni could be in a bit of trouble here heading down the main straight. He doesn't have the overtake. Yanni, well, Zanility does, I should say. Riding over with Yapsi, you can see his teammate under pressure from the Cadillac and being passed by the Cadillac. Zanility takes P3 as Niper has another look up the inside of Raxi. Gives him a little love tap for good measure. Zanility up to P3, it's a QDR 4 and 5. Make our way through lap 13. Giacomo leading his own little train. It is just a race of trains currently, as the Argos sets fastest lap of the race down in P16. He's had a very difficult race so far, but it isn't over till it's over, and he is trying to make his way back through the field along with Sweet Crown and Douglas and Maddie. But Victor still leads us, and there is Niper trying to do what he did on lap 3 and get by Raxi at turn 9. I think it worked this time around. Raxi was a bit more wiser to it, and Niper just about staying ahead. At the final corner we go. Niper really wants that P5, but Raxi wants to stay with his teammate. As they're all burning down the main straight, starting to lose touch with Zanility in front. And into turn 1 we go. Niper down the inside, gets off the room by Raxi. Does he have the traction to challenge into turn 2? No, he doesn't. And Raxi is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Speaking of hanging on, Giacomo is trying to stay ahead of Cristobal, and he just about does so in the Ferrari. Though his medium tyres are certainly slower at this point in the race. So I think it's only a matter of time before he gets by. Yanni is really struggling for pace, so he's getting pushed along by his teammate. Through this middle sector, Zanility has dropped him, and he's going after the 2 leaders instead. So the QDRs will try and work together if they are to fend off Niper. Niper is pushing Raxi round turn 9, as he has done so often. As I think has been an incident for Tristamatic, who was having such a good race at one point. He tumbles down to P15 and he's well out of contention in this race now. Cristobal and this pack have much better tyres than Giacomo, and they're looking to get ahead of the Ferrari. Can't quite get close enough at the moment though. As we round the final corner, is he going to be close enough for a move this time around? Cristobal gaining and gaining on the Ferrari. To the inside he goes at turn 1. I don't know if Giacomo's going to fight this too hard. Gives him Maroon on the outside with better traction than the McLaren. Can he get the move done? Nice traction for the Ferrari on the inside at turn 2. Gets left for room. Now it's at turn 3. That's close. Contact made. Heineck now finds himself on the inside. Now it's a traction race at turn 3, and Cristobal does just about stay ahead. As we know, there's a change of positions between the 2 QDRs. Yanni gives up the position to Raxi. I think Raxi feels he's got more pace at this point in the race. So now it's Yanni's turn to defend from Niper, who is still fed up and being stopped behind the Williams. Down the inside he goes. Very fine margins, sorry for the cough, but he does just get wheel to wheel and down the back straight on the outside. Can he brake later? No, he can't. He just about gets squeezed out by Yanni. He's still trying to keep his nose in there. He does just have to back out. Nordic's just been sat behind this whole time, awaiting a chance to get at them. It's not quite working out currently. So out the final corner, Naipa looks for the switchback and heading down the straight. Can he go to the inside? It's incredibly close. Gets shoved to the inside. He does go down the inside. Breaks leg. Gets it done. Nordic tries to find his way by as well, but can't quite get it done. So Naipa is up into P5. Raxi pulling away from the train behind. The top three have absolutely blitzed away though. They're in a bit of a world of their own in this race. Raxi by himself, and then we cut back to Cristobal, who does finally get ahead of Giacomo. He's now got some clean air to push into, and there's a assignment to Sweet Crown. That looks like it could be a safety car possibly, but I don't think one is being deployed. So we are still carrying on. We are reaching the point where these runners are going to want to start pitting for hard soon enough. So Cristobal, he's going to start hunting down the pack in front on those hard tyres, but these lot are surely going to pit soon. Around the final corner we go. Does anyone damage to the pits? Yes, they do. Simon is in, so the first of the leaders to pull the trigger is the IRT. And he's joined by Raxi and Naipa. So these three all in. This lot carry on, understandably. Giacomo loses another position to Heineck. Nicholas gets a penalty for speeding. So Zanelli and Bixer go another lap. Surely they're going to have to respond to Simon's undercut. Simon's got a lovely bit of clean air to push into. Fascinating races because we've got two different strategies going on, and they're both going to kind of converge at some point in this race. But this top four is surely going to have to pit. They have to respond to those who pitted the lap before. The undercut is very powerful here at Zandvoort. Victor and Zanilli around the banking for last time on the mediums. They both do peel in. So Simon making his way in through turn 12 currently, and everybody is in. So Cristobal is also in, interestingly. So that's a very interesting strategy. But Heineck stays out on the hard tyres. So does Mercikil and Benenek. So Simon Piper, where is he? He's heading through turn 1 now. Fitz Garcia is on the inside, but he's way ahead of Simon Piper. That is how effective the undercut is here. He's got nearly 2 seconds on Victor behind. So Simon, now your net race leader. And Victor and Zanilli are going to have to try and catch the RB right back up. Naipa also has jumped Raxi in the process. Yanni is still ahead of Nordic Ninja. But Naipa really starting to bring himself into contention. Can he start to catch back up these three? So Heineck leads the race, but him, Mercikil and Benenek are on representative strategies as Heineck does pit off the hards. That is still, I think, a weirdly short amount of time to go off the hards from. Anyway, Benenek stays out another lap. This is your net race leader, Simon, who has got a nice gap on Victor Garcia. Zanelli still running with him. Naipa is running very fast. He's trying to hunt down Zanilli. He's being caught by Zaxi. And Yanni, who's really dropped off in pace in this race, was running P2 at one point. He's really just not got the pace in the Williams. And he's coming under pressure from Nordic Ninja, who's been sat behind the scrapping all race so far, but he's finally looking to get involved. Still came out in P9 on those hard tyres. He's going to try and get to the end. Benenek, you expect him to pit soon if he can go onto the hards as well. So So disaster for HRT, 2 retirements as well. 2 Audis and 2 Mercedes are your only 2 retirements currently. Benedict stays out another lap, so he's happy to carry on. Heading down the straight, though, Zanility is right on the back of Garcia. Does he shake for a move into turn 1? Ferrari don't want to give it a great slate and just about stays ahead. It just about does enough, and in the process, they're actually hunting down Simon. So Zanility, I think he wants to try and overtake Garcia before Garcia starts getting the slipstream off of Simon Piper, but Mr. Garcia's done a decent job at fending him off so far. Naiper is also slowly catching these leaders. In the process, Raxi is running with him as well, so we could soon be in for a 5-way fight for the win. Nordic Ninja also did get ahead of Yanni in that process, as he tries to muscle his way by on the inside of turn 7, but Yanni tumbles down to P8. You really wonder where his pace has gone in this race. They're also being caught by Cristobal, who's got the freshest hard tyres of the race. Heineck not too far behind him as well, as I think LT Douglas having a bit of spin in the middle sector. As Benedict does finally pit, so Simon re-inherits the lead of the race. But Zanility is having another go at Garcia, just has to back off. Right in there for Garcia, goes very late. Can Zanility get him on the exit? No, not quite. So the Ferrari hanging on to second place. And Zanility really ramping up the pressure in the BMB. As his teammate also takes P12 of the pitting Benedict. But the gap between the leaders is coming down like crazy. Cristobal caught 3 seconds on the last lap, so those on fresher hards are really catching at a rate of knots. The top 3 right with each other. Naiper is catching them, Raxi is catching them. These 2 even, who are set at quite poor pace, they're actually catching still as well. Heineck is catching them as well. The top 9 could all converge on each other at some point in the race. And we still have 15 laps to go. So still plenty of action to be brought up here in the Dutch Grand Prix. Crucially for Victor Garcia, he does finally have the overtake on Simon in front, to the dismay of Zanility, who's going to try and have another go at Ferrari heading down towards turn 1. Is he going to be close enough this time? No, just lifts off and thinks about it for later on. But him backing off is just allowing Naiper into the fight, who is about to make this a 4-way fight for the lead, and not soon after, Raxi is also going to join this fight. So we are in for a brilliant end to this Dutch Grand Prix. Huge amount of cars are just about to converge in on each other. Nordic and Yanni are still running with each other, and they're only 5 seconds off the leaders. Meanwhile, Giacomo wheel to wheel with Mersakill, and he gets his Belarus into the top 10. Heineck and Cristobal starting to close in on these 2 in front. They have got fresher hard tyres. But the leaders now inseparable. Naiper has joined the fight along with Raxi. So we now have a 5-way fight for the lead. Zanilli, that's a big lift from Victor Garcia to harness the battery. Is that going to leave him vulnerable to Zanility, who's got a lot of slipstream, a lot of battery? As we head on to lap 23, is it going to be a change of P2 to the inside? Goes the Cadillac down the inside at turn 1, nearly runs into the back of Simon. Victor Garcia on the outside does get the traction to just about stay ahead. So into turn 3 we go. Simon leads. Victor is clinging on to P2, but is just about fending off Zanility. And I think for his sake, he probably wants to get ahead of Simon because he can't stand this pressure from Zanility forever. The Cadillac is probably looking the quickest of the leaders so far. And we'll see what Naiper can do, as these 3 battling has just allowed him into the fight, although he does have the oldest hards of the bunch. If they battle too much, that just might allow these 2 into the fight as well. So, a huge amount of unanswered questions, which nobody knows the answers to, as we near 13 laps remaining. So is it going to be Zanility versus Victor round 4? Zanility a bit further back this time, but still within touching distance of the Ferrari. As he shapes to the inside, no he doesn't. Nipert is rocking up on the scene with a bit less battery, but I don't think he's too eager to try and get by these lots just yet. He knows he's got a lap older tyres, but crucially so does the leader, Simon Piper. So his pace is still respectable, Simon Piper, considering his tyres are slightly older. But Zanility still really eager to get by Victor Garcia, he just cannot find a way by. Turn 10 we go, running on board with Nipert, who's also right behind Zanility. Four cars separated by a second as we cross the line for lap 25. Look at that, a cinematic shot as the four leaders make their way out the banking. And what a finale here we are in for as Victor closes in on Simon for the lead. Isn't quite close enough. If he goes for a move, that might leave him vulnerable to Zanility behind, who's looking ever more feisty in the Cadillac. Meanwhile, as we have a spinner at the back, ARC Douglas goes for a spin and goes for a second one into the wall, smashes the bollard in the process. And ARC Douglas, I think that might be the end of the day for him in a disastrous day for AERT. The team that sits third in the standings is having a horrific day as Zanility pushes Victor Garcia round turn 6 as Nipert starts to push him as well as he shapes the inside. No, it's always risky in the middle sector to try and get by. And down the inside he goes now at the inside of turn 10, caught the Cadillac napping, and Zanility, who's been looking at P2 for so many laps now loses out to Nipert in P3. Does he try and come back down the inside? It's just going to get cut off. So Nipert all of a sudden asserting himself in the fight for the lead and gets up into P3. And that battling now has just allowed Raxi into the equation as well. Victor is now closer than ever to Simon Piper. ARC Douglas becomes the fifth for Simon of the race. And heading down the straight, Victor Garcia hot in the wheel tracks of Simon Piper. Does he go to the outside for the lead of the race? Simon just about having it covered off. And any move he tries to go for, Nipert will be right there with him, along with Zanility. And Raxi now starting to join the party. And if these two start to fight, Nordic Ninja and Yannick will be right with them soon as well. So the fall was Raxi nearly has a spin on the exit of turn 3. Four-way fight for the lead becomes a five-way fight. And every little twitch, every little lock-up these drivers have is going to get punished by the drivers behind or in front. Let's make our way out of turn 10. So Nipert, despite having a lot older tyres, he seemed like the one that could start to pressure the two leaders right behind Victor Garcia as we make our way out the final corner. And heading down the straight, is Victor close enough for a move on Simon? Is Nipert close enough for a move on Victor? Meanwhile, Raxi's into the pit lane. Raxi is pitting, I'm not sure why. He's putting on another set of parts. A fascinating strategical there from the Williams. That's contact between the McLaren and Alpine, and that's going to be a half spin behind it. Cristobal just about fending off. He sat from behind it behind, but nice switchback from the Alpine to take P7. Nicely done by Heineck to get his Alpine into the top 7. But Raxi, he wasn't under any pressure. He was running P5. He was about to catch the leaders. And all of a sudden he's pitted. So I think this is just a strategy call on his own merit. And we'll see how it works out for him. But Raxi with a very, very interesting strategy call, I must say. Meanwhile, Benedict gets ahead of BMB Grenade. Whether he thinks these lot are going to puncture later in the race, we'll find out. But Victor is incredibly close to Simon Pfeiffer this time around. And riding on board in Ferrari, does he go to the outside? Yes, he does. But Simon again has it covered off. Does he look for the switchback? Naiper looking to capitalise on any errors these two make. As he head into turn 3, the McLaren right on the back of Victor Garcia, just no way by for now. And Zanility, I think, maybe wondering how he's ended up at the back of this train, considering he was all over the back of Victor Garcia before. Keeping out Raxi's pace now, though, because he's going to be absolutely rapid on those hard tyres. It's just a case of whether he can reclaim the pit stop time, but again, I'm fascinated by that strategy call. And maybe he does just think he was going to get a puncture and he wasn't going to make it to the end. These four, though, seem happy to fight till the end. And with just 8 laps to go when we cross the line. Heinicke and Cristobal still doing battle for P7 in a world of their own. And on the inside is Heinicke, who will just about hold on to P7. We cut back to the leaders where Biker is right on the inside of a Ferrari. He meant to go for a move, but just about, but when he's slamming into the back of Victor, and now he's wheel to wheel on the exit, does just back out. I don't think he intentionally went for that move, but he did in the end. It didn't quite work out as Cristobal and Heinicke still wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 1. The Alpine now with the inside. Cristobal on the outside will just about hold it, and it looks to the switchback, but McLaren is just about staying ahead. As Yanni still piles on the pressure on Nordic Ninja in front, battling for P5 now. Meanwhile, down the inside goes Naiper for P2 now, trying to do what he did to Zanility. That's not going to work out though, as Yanni also gets out of Nordic Ninja, so the leaders really starting to change positions. Oh, Katanax, that's just a bug. They changed their front wing and for some reason the game hasn't registered. They put it back on, so yeah. Some people are just racing without front wings, like Cristobal. But anyway, front wings aside, it is still Simon in the lead. He seems like the only one who hasn't changed positions in this fight for the lead. Naiper again, gaining on Victor, down inside of Victor. This time it was intentional, but it wasn't close enough to take P2. Zanility just kind of holding back a bit, maybe just charging his battery, awaiting an opportunity to arise. But he's just sitting back for now. Raxi, fastest lap of the race. If he wants to catch the leaders, though, he's going to have to catch a lot more than that and hope that their tyres drop off. But just keep an eye on Raxi, because he might be able to catch Yanni and Nordic by the end, so that might be an interesting scrap. But the top 4 still inseparable. Victor pushing Simon. And Naiper pushing Victor. Is he going to shape for a move this time around as well? Looking to the inside. He loves that inside line, Naiper. It's just not quite enough this time to try and get ahead of the Ferrari. Cristobal and Heinicke doing battle, and their battling has allowed Giant Como back into their mix, along with Mercerkill. So it's a 4-way fight for P7, a 4-way fight for the lead, as Raxi gets ahead of Grenade to get up into P12. Keep an eye on his progress on the fresh hards. But Victor much closer to Simon this time around. Brakes late, round the outside he goes. Brakes a little too late. They both go incredibly wide. Simon on the inside as we head towards turn 2. Doesn't want to give it up. Round the outside goes Victor. On the curb is Victor. Now on the inside of turn 3. More contact nearly being made. Riding on board with Naiper, who gets a front row seat of this incredible battle. Simon just about somehow hanging on. Looking to the outside now as Victor goes on the grass. Victor just about making it through, but he has to go so slowly with grass on his tyres through turn 7. Somehow Simon holds on to the lead of the race, but fantastic racing between the two leaders. And Simon will live to fight another day in the lead. And as I said, if they battle too much, Naiper and Zanility will be right there to snatch the lead off them, so they've got to be careful. So Tristemic now on the fastest lap on the soft tyres. Head out the final corner. Is Victor going to be close enough for another go at Simon? Or does he just need a lap to recharge the battery. Does Sniper start to think that he needs to start making moves as well? Has a look to the inside, Victor, but stays behind. I think Sniper gives Victor a little love tap as well. But just 5 laps to go now. I think Zanility and Sniper know that if they want to win this race, they need to start getting themselves in between the IRT and Valaris. Because if they go into the last lap in P4, that's not going to win them the race. So Victor still trying to get Simon. You can see the difference in the fresher lap tyres. That's a look to the inside. That's never going to work out. And now Sniper's right on the back of him. Valaris is still right with him. Victor also hot in pursuit of Simon still. 7 tenths cover the top 4 with 5 laps to go at the Dutch Grand Prix. Victor rounding outside of turn 10, he tries to, and now turns to the inside. Simon shoves him to the inside, contact made, down the inside he goes. No, he just has to back out. Simon defending for his life in this Dutch Grand Prix. Victor will look to try again down towards turn 1. Zanility is starting to put pressure on Sniper as well. Cutting back to Raxi, he has caught this huge train for P7. He's got to make quick work of them if he is to catch Yanni and Nordic Ninja, who are still battling amongst themselves. But into turn 1 we go again. Round 4 between Victor and Simon. Round the outside he goes at turn 1 this time around. He can't get alongside, gets squeezed out at turn 1, and Simon holds on to the lead. Zanility is trying to come at Sniper as well into turn 3. Can he look to get better traction on the run down towards turn 6? Burning every bit of battery that they have to try and get the positions off each other. Zanility gaining to the outside, he goes on the McLaren, but dipping his wheels in the grass. That's not going to work out, and Zanility has to hold in P4 for now. So Victor trying again. He tried it into turn 10 one time, he's trying it into turn 1. Everywhere he tries it, Simon is just making his car as wide as possible. That is very deep though from Simon, and now on the exit, can Victor look for a move? Towards turn 11 we go now. Does he look to the inside? No, he doesn't. Victor just staying behind, biding his time. He's only got 3 laps left when we cross the line. There's plenty of time to overtake, but given Simon's defending, every corner is going to be incredibly important. Cutting back to Raxi, he is out the race. Raxi has retired. I don't know why Raxi is retired. He's just retired on his own accord. Meanwhile, Victor Garcia, this time on the inside, this time with the lead of the race. Sniper tries to follow him through on the inside of turn 1. Now at the inside for turn 2. On the outside is Simon staying ahead, and he will just about hold P2. But Victor finally got to the inside of Simon, and he didn't need a second chance to take the lead then. Victor up into the lead after so many laps of pressure. And now, can Simon come back at him, or is he going to be left vulnerable to Sniper and Zanility behind? Victor really trying to pull away. I'm still baffled as to why Raxi retired. He just retired by himself. He didn't retire because of a crash. So, very strange scenes. But Victor really starting to pull away there. That might be game over for the win, and Simon might just look to hang on to a podium here, because Sniper and Zanility are really starting to ramp up the pressure. And you could see why Sniper wanted to get out of Simon so desperately, because it's allowed the Ferrari to get away. And now Sniper will have to try and follow him through. So as we head our way onto the penultimate lap of the race, Sniper in hot pursuit of Simon, and he try and get to the inside like Victor did last lap. Gaining and gaining on the RB, down the inside he goes at turn 1. Simon brakes just as late and just about has the braking power to cover off the McLaren. Zanility has been stuck in P4 for plenty of laps now. He's just been unable to find his way past Sniper, but he could still snatch a P2 in this. They're still battling at the back for P7. Cristobal ahead of Heineck, Benedict battling with Giacomo for the minor points positions, and Mertaki in P11 as well, looking to get by as well. But I must say, this battle between the top 4 has been absolutely incredible. It looks like it's going to be won by Victor Garcia, but P2 is still on the line, and Simon's tyres are well and truly dead. He's trying to hang on, but down the inside goes Sniper, barging his way back by, and the McLaren does finally get up into P2, and now it's Zanility's turn to try and snatch a podium off of Simon. Sniper, he's been making moves at turn 10 all race, makes probably his most crucial yet to take P2 and certify a place on the podium for the McLaren, unless Simon or Zanilli can do anything about it as we make our way onto the final lap of this incredible Dutch Grand Prix. Can Zanilli get at Simon for the podium on the final lap? Does he go down the inside? Yes, he does on turn 1. Simon gives him the squeeze, but Zanilli on the inside with fresher tyres, better traction. Now with the inside line of turn 2, still wheel to wheel. Round the outside goes Simon and spinning. It's Zanilli into disaster for the Cadillac. Comes back on the track. Is he going to be ahead as Yanni and Nordic, who are just making their way through now? I think he's just about going to hang on. Zanilli without damage loses a place on the podium. I don't know if the stewards will have a look at that after the race, but for now Simon, I think, is just about going to hang on, and Zanilli is going to be frustrated to have to settle for P4 after at one point he had an incredible race. He had incredible pace in this race, I should say. But Victor Garcia, Belarus, who have won 2 out of the 4 rounds in this season so far, and they are going to reach the halfway point in this stage of the season with an absolutely unattainable lead in the standings. You thought they couldn't get any more dominant, but on a day where they probably weren't the fastest car, Victor Garcia found a way past Simon Piper, and he's going to end up winning this Grand Prix. And what a first half of the season it's been for Belarus. Victor Garcia wins the Dutch Grand Prix. A brilliant race from the Ferrari. Also a brilliant race for Nijper, who takes P2, and Simon Piper, who tried to hang on for the win, has to settle for P3. Zanilli on after his spin is P4. Yanni and Nordic locked in their battle, P4 and 5, and then this huge gaggle of cars. Cristobal, Heineck, Benenik and Giacomo round out your top 10. A fantastic race full of fantastic battles, I must say. Top 4 take a bow, because each and every one of them have driven absolutely superbly today. The retirements have been Raxi, Douglas, Liargos, Sweetcrown, Ariel Keys and Tun God, and still question marks over why Raxi, 1, pitted in the first place and why he ended up retiring. But your winner is Belarus' Victor Garcia, an incredible drive from the Ferrari. So Belarus once again picking up the win, and they are just truly unstoppable in this constructors fight, but that doesn't tell the full story. Nijper, Simon and Zanilli gave him a huge run for his money, but in the end it will be him who wins it. Nijper and Simon, though, will be happy with the podium. We'll see if anything gets looked at between Zanilli and Simon on that final lap. But a fantastic race here in Zandvoort where Belarus extend their championship lead. Congratulations to the top 4 especially. But that has been all from us in EFES. Obviously, a disrupted calendar. We weren't even really supposed to have Zandvoort as round 5. But do join us for Tier 2 on Tuesday, and then obviously Austin next week. So thank you for watching the European Formula Esports Series. I've been KJ. I wish you all a very good week. Goodbye.